What better way to listen to the Stay Woke podcast than listen to it wearing a Stay Woke or Wokeist t-shirt? From royaltyshop.bigcartel.com. My personal favorite is the red and white one. So head over to royaltyshop.bigcartel.com to get one today. Again, that's royaltyshop.bigcartel.com.
You're now tuned in to the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the sonicbreakdown.com.
Man, it's time to wake up. Get this cake up. Only thing I care about is switching.
Welcome back to another Stay Woke podcast. This is D. Ray Brinson, and you know the Stay Woke podcast is presented by thesonicbreakdown.com. So go over to thesonicbreakdown.com and check an article out there. So let's get right into it. Today we're going to take you back, way back to October 12th, 1999. It was cold like it is now. I don't know, maybe colder. I don't know. Depends on where you are. East Coast, definitely cold.
It was most likely colder, for sure.
So, think about that time, that day, was the debut of Mos Def's Black on Both Sides.
Man.
That was released by Rawkus Records at that time. And all I got to say is the sound, the feel of it was different than we felt in hip-hop for a long time, maybe ever at that point, for me at least. It was a mixture of hip hop versus alternative hip hop, conscious hip hop, different sounds, blending genres. Not that this was the first time that genres were blended, but they just seemed very unique in a way. So let's take it back to that time for another Take It Back segment with D-Ray and DJ William West. What's up, bruh?
Thank you for having me back, man. I love this segment.
So yeah, I know this is one of your favorite albums. So today,
Of all time.
As you got from the intro, we're gonna talk about Mos Def's Black on Both Sides. Like the first, let's go to the title, Black on Both Sides. The first thing that came to my mind when I first heard that title, and thinking about it now in retrospect, is when you give somebody dap. And back in the '90s, give me dap on the black hand side. And he's basically saying, like, there is no other side to me. I'm black all around. Like, it just felt like this whole album was a celebration of being black, hip hop, just an embodiment of that. And then you have the cover with a black man, darker skinned black man, as the forefront with a black cover behind it. Like, again, expressing that black on both sides, black all around. Like, I'm unapologetically black and I'm proud of it. That just feel, and that's even before you even press play.
Yeah.
Take us back to your initial feelings of when this album came out, and like how you got into it.
Overall, it's soulful hip hop. This is what like this defines real lovely soul mixed with gritty hip hop. It's just that perfect blend, and that's what I see from the beginning, and from looking at this cover. I remember seeing this cover in the Source magazine, and it was just like that. It's a plain cover of Mos Def's face, and what I saw in it is just straight pride of hip hop, pride of being yourself, and on top of that, it's proud of being black.
Yeah,
black empowerment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And me being Latino, me being super white, light skinned, you know what I mean? At first,
Casper over here.
I'm not even gonna lie. At first, when I first didn't even hear the album yet, and I saw the promotion out there in the streets, posters, magazines, of course, I thought it was gonna be a preachy album. That's where I got that. That was the first initial.
That's what the marketing told you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But once I dove into it and listened to it, I was like, oh man. I mean, I never expected that out of Mos Def to begin with. But just how it was promoted and how I saw it, how I viewed the whole promotion behind it, it was that it was going to be a preachy album. But it's far from that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's just a different perspective. And then, of course, I was also at a younger age. This is high school. I saw this once I started listening to it. It just takes you to New York. It takes you to Brooklyn.
Yeah, this
album takes you there.
Yeah, it's
one of those portal albums that can take you from anywhere you live at. You can be in Alaska and you listen to this, it'll take you to where you want to be, which is New York, Brooklyn. Man, train stations, stoops, streets, bus stops.
Yeah, walking through Brooklyn. It definitely has sonically. It has all the properties that you would associate with New York. But usually when you say that, it might sound like you're pigeonholing the album because there's so many different sounds on this album.
Oh, yeah,
So many different.
And we'll get into that, for
like
sure.
themes and feelings. Yeah, that we'll definitely get into a little bit later. I just wanted to just point that out, but it definitely has New York energy, atmosphere, feel, while still giving a diverse sound and emotional range on this album. So shit, let's get right into it. First, actually, before we get right into it, I want to just point out some of the key producers, and then we'll point out them as we go through the album.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
some of the key producers on the album. Of course, you have Mos Def that did a lot of the instrumentations that you were telling me earlier
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
The
off.
bass, congas, drums, percussions, keyboards, even.
Yeah, and then if you know much about Mos Def, he learned the guitar later. I'm not sure if it was as a result of him taking up the Chuck Berry role in Cadillac Records, or that was already a passion that he had prior, and then that kind of helped with that role. Then you have Diamond D, 88 Keys, DJ Premier, Adetoli.
Tola.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
D Prosper, and then A Tribe Called Quest. Ooh, Ali, man.
Ali.
Beatnuts as well.
Yeah, Psycho Les.
Yeah, so this album is deep with quality, great producers. So that just tells you alone that the sounds are there. So let's get right into it with the intro track or the first song of the album, Fear Not of Man. You were telling me that when you first was listening to it that you kind of would just skip that track.
Yeah, I always when I first got this album, yes, I was at a younger age, I would skip it because I would skip intros a lot. Just I guess my attention wasn't there, for
Gotcha.
off the bat. But I would always skip it. I would check the beginning of it, of course, like the first few seconds, 10 seconds, and then skip right into hip hop, which is the next track. And I always thought that was the first track of the album, but it's not. This is actually a real track.
Yeah.
But it's more of him just kind of talking. And
It's setting the tone.
Yeah, it's setting the tone. It's
because, like you said, if you
and it went over my head.
yeah,
Like,
if you
when I
listen
was-
to the contents of, that's what I wanted to get into, is the contents of Fear Not of Man, and that just the title alone kind of has a religious theme to it. In essence, well, not in essence, in actuality, it does have a religious theme to it, as well as that he answers the question that a lot of people have and it comes up all the time in hip hop. Is hip hop dead? What's going on with hip hop? What's the future of hip hop? And he gives us what he deems is the answer. The hip hop is going to be as well as we are, the people that are pushing the culture, or because hip hop is us. The culture is
Yep.
it's a movement. It's a culture. It's more than just words. It's more than just music. It's more than just sound. It embodies so much more that it is upon us to carry it on, continue it, push it forward. And if we're doing well, so will hip hop be doing well.
He's telling us to look at hip hop in a different way.
Yeah, in a different light.
Not a music genre, but it is, like he said, like it's tangible. It's us. It is the people. So think of it that way. And it's don't get it twisted with something in the hills. Like he even said it in the beginning. He mentions that hip hop isn't something that is just something big in the hills or far away.
Yeah, it's not a giant that people have seen. It's a literal. It's here. It's now. It's present.
us.
It's
It's
kind of
life.
it's kind of going back to the religious theme. It's kind of omnipotent in that aspect because it's everywhere all the time, as long as you allow it to be. And then we get right into hip hop, which I just want to, before we go to the next on hip hop, I just want to touch on that from the beginning. That's why I never skipped it, because it felt like it was a celebration of hip hop, and then you get to hip hop,
Yeah.
and then it's really like it's like the first track is a celebration of hip
then it
hop, and
takes
then the
off from
second
there.
one is saying, I'm gonna show you why hip hop is doing just fine. Like I'm gonna show you why we're celebrating it on this first one.
Yeah.
That's how I took it, anyways. Let's just talk about hip hop, man. I mean, I feel like we could talk
I
about
love this
hip hop
song.
all day. Like that track, it is hip hop. It is what it's
I
the
love
title.
this song.
It's classic feel. Just there's no ambiguity about that song. There's no guessing. Is this a hip hop song? Is this a rap? No, it is hip hop.
he defines what hip hop is in this track. He talks about hip hop.
Lyrically and with the sound,
Yeah.
like on every aspect. It embodies hip hop, man.
One of my favorite lines. My restlessness is my nemesis. It's hard to really chill and sit still. And then he goes on from there, but that's one of my favorite lines.
Like that's the other thing about Mos Def though, is that he always gives you lines and lyrics, and it always has so much meaning to it. But at the same time, it just feels like it's effortless though.
Man.
Just his delivery is flow, like it's a walk in the park for him.
And off the top, this song, which is the second song, but to me it's always been the first song.
Mhm.
I love his, how do I say it? It's like I love his delivery. He's a smooth dude, but he gives you pockets of just crazy energy. Like his sometimes he yells or screams. He puts emphasis on bars and lines. He sets the tone for himself too in this first track, talking about hip hop. On top of that, that's what I love and I take away from this track, because he actually goes up and down in energy in this track.
Yeah,
He's yelling. It's just overall so much passion. That's why I love Mos Def. Like, this is the album that sold me on Mos Def. Then I went into the other catalogs, the Black Star and everything else, all the Ruckus stuff, you name it, Sound Bombing, Lyricist Lounge, all of that.
Yeah.
But this album is like what defines
that's
Mos
what
Def.
opened up the gates for you for Mos Def.
Oh yeah.
I'll say I definitely have to agree with you. This opened up the gates for me for Mos Def as well. I knew about him. He wasn't foreign, but I never I guess gave him the true listening that he deserved.
Yeah.
I guess would be the best way to put it. And then, like as we always say, like it opens up doors and passages to other things, because again, I knew about Talib Kweli, but that opened up the door to Talib Kweli even more. Then that opened up the door to High Tech, and then that opened up the door to it just, to finding out different producers, and then finding out different artists, and just going down that line. And that really, I'll say, guided my hip hop journey, because I'll say prior to that, it was very hip hop or East Coast oriented, but it was more hardcore, I guess, like Onyx, Wu-Tang, Redman, a little less on the conscious, more black hippie vibe now. So
Message music.
Yeah, message music. So that kind of opened that door for me in that regard. So I'm very appreciative to this album as a result of that.
Oh yeah, and of course those artists were always around. Mos Def was always around, but I really feel that from all the albums prior to me to getting to all those other projects, this is the one where he's by himself.
Yeah.
Because all the music that I've been listening to with Mos Def that I truly loved back in the days, during that 1996 through 1998 kind of era, he was always featured on something, or it was always with somebody else. It would be a song with Pharoah Monch, it would be Common, or The Roots, or somebody, you know what I mean? Like, it's just that whole, this album really kind of gave me more of what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's
like a window into his artistic. I mean, for me, it was a window into his artistic, like I knew him artistically, as you were saying, but it really broke down him more. It gave us a deeper peek into him as an artist.
it was more out of curiosity.
For you.
It was more out of curiosity to check in. What is Mos Def by himself all about? That's what gravitated me to this album and Mos Def, and then forever from there it took off. Like I'm a Mos Def fan.
Yeah, Mos
forever.
Def,
Forever. Mos Def forever.
or as he is now referred to as Yasin Bey. But
Forever Mos Def.
I knew him as Mos Def. His mama called him Mos Def. I'm gonna call him Mos Def.
He was Mos Def from the beginning. We gonna keep it that way. I respect the new name change though. I ain't mad at him.
No, I do too. But I want to go to the next one of Love, because it and just as we're talking about this now, it really broke down how the layout of this album was well done as well, because the intro led into the hip hop, and then hip hop is kind of the celebration of hip hop, and then that carries into his love for hip hop and where that love began and how that love was fostered. It's really telling a story in the chronological order that they have it.
Yeah.
With it, and then they
Overall,
have stories
good
within the
flow.
stories. Yeah. And Love is just, it really embodies that of love of hip hop. It gives you a nice feeling. It gives you a nice atmosphere that it creates with this particular song. I am interested in to see. When I heard it, I didn't take it as a typical love song, which I don't know if you took it as that
No.
when you went, but I
got
if-
it from the bat.
yeah, it felt like it was building off of Commons.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I got that the first time I listened to it. I don't know. I don't remember. I can't say I remember, but I know re-listening to it, because this is an album I do go to often, that is what always pops into my head is Commons, I Used to Love Her.
Because it came first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how he goes over just overall the umbrella of what love kind of trickles into. The different parts of love. Love in life, love with your family, and then he dives into just love for the music.
Yeah, how it's multifaceted.
Yeah.
Breaking down the meaning of the word, and then breaking it down to specifics of what it means to him in hip hop.
Yep.
And that's a common thing that you see with Mos Def. And I think I don't want to say this for a fact, but I get some of that feeling with Mick Jenkins, with The Waters, and how he did with Love, or his Spread Love album. So it's just interesting how you can see other influences possibly, because of course Mos Def was way before Mick Jenkins.
Yeah.
And Mick Jenkins is a hip hop historian, so I know he knows about the wordplay and history of Mos Def.
He's had to have at least heard this album.
Yeah.
10 times.
Yeah. I say at least 30. Anything else you want to say about this particular track, Love?
Man.
Because I know the next one is yeah.
We'll build up the anticipation on that one.
Yeah.
Because that is forever the classic, and what it's known for on this album. I mean, it is what it is. I love. I'm gonna go over a few lines, and I don't want to mess up his lines, but I'll just read it, just to read it.
Hey,
but,
there's no mess up. It's all love. It's all love. We it's a love and
what I'm saying?
appreciation. So
My pops said he was in love when he made me. Thought about it for a second. It wasn't hard to see.
if you listen to the podcast enough, I will pick that line. No, but that's the other thing that I do appreciate about Mos that I think goes kind of underrated and unnoticed is his humor and his wit that isn't it's in your face, but you have to really look to catch those lines. Not even catch those lines, but catch the wit and the light humor behind it. Not even light humor, the humor behind it. But you have another line from that track, or because I'm ready to go into number 4.
Let's do it. Your favorite? No,
it's not my favorite, but it is what is. When every time I think of this album, the visual pictures that come to my mind is this video. It was the first, really, my introduction into this album. Again, the thing that caught me about this song in particular, and then I'll get to. Actually, I'm gonna go and reverse that, scratch that, reverse that little Willy Wonka reference if you get it out there.
Nobody got that.
Scratch that. But I'll talk about the video first. The thing that got me about the video was the fact that the graffiti writing, I won't say which is something new, but it's just the black and white or Sephora tint or whatever.
Yeah.
That, as well as the way that they shot it, the angles that they picked.
Black, white, sepia.
Yeah, sepia. The zooming in, zooming out, it just didn't feel like your typical video angles. It felt more like a movie. It felt more like a artistic screenplay, cinematography wise. And then the hilarity, the storytelling abilities of Mos Def, lyrically content, and then you add on the production that gives you this kind of upper beat feel, but still with a slower cadence. So it's like you're like, am I up or but it still had a mellow vibe to it. Yeah, so it was like it's in the mid range, but it's like the pitch of some of the sounds gives you that upper feel, while the slower cadence gives you that mellow feel, kind of giving you a different balance. And all of that for me came together, and it fit sonically for me. And it was like, wow, this is so different. It just felt so different. It felt so new. It felt exciting. And I don't know, for me, like lyrically in hip hop, I was like, yes, I like this direction. I like where
Yeah.
things are going. I want to see like what this then opens the doors for moving forward. And that's just the feeling that I get when I hear this.
And in the DJ world, this song is like slow. This is a slow song, but
That's what I'm saying. But people,
to me, it's not. It's
but
like,
people play it in the clubs and
it's-
parties
yeah.
and shit, like as if it's one of those fast club bangers. You know what I mean? And that's a better way of explaining it.
BPM wise, beats per minute, the speed of the song is what that is not in the high range, but it's a slower track, but it has that perfect just blend of energy that keeps your attention because you're listening to the song. Everybody knows the words, and everybody knows the story.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Miss Fat Booty right here, man. Miss Fat Booty. This song, and to go back to the video, it's so dope how the lyrics, the concept of the song, and the video go together so well. I say that, I know it sounds basic or practical, but
That's not always the case.
it's not always the case. You get the lyrics, you get the storytelling that goes one way, and the other way is the video, and they don't even like touch at all. And I just love how this just comes together. And a lot of Mos Def's projects and his songs you can tell they're just well thought out. Nothing's rushed. This is art that we're putting together, and we are passionate about it.
Yeah.
And that's what gravitates me to Mos Def, because he's so passionate about everything he writes, everything he creates,
Everything he creates,
all the visuals,
his
name,
any artwork,
small
any
stuff
art form.
to bigger stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fine details to the bigger stuff. And again, we're talking about Miss Fat Booty. Miss Fat Booty. This song, man, Miss Fat Booty.
Let him know who the producer was.
Ayatollah, one of the dopest producers of all time. He did a lot of the early Ruckus stuff. So a lot of stuff that, you know, for all those who are Ruckus Records fanatics, that's everybody from Talib Kweli, Shabam Sadiq, Mos Def, Black Star, High Tech, and the list goes on of that whole era. Made this beat, and it's just so good.
And he
That
for this
soul sample too. That
yeah,
soul sample.
that sample, I was just about to mention that sample was from Aretha Franklin.
Yep.
Aretha Franklin,
Yep.
One Step Ahead, that was released in 1965. So that's where you get that soul feel, and then when you add those drums and then complete the production out, it was a great combination. Everything was needed and nothing is missing. To me, that kind of embodies that. And again, so going back real quick, so this is the video that introduced me to the album. So that's what made me get into this album.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And after that, I never looked back. I know the next track is a high on your list as well. Speed Law, right?
Oh yeah, Speed Law.
Now, what I have to say for Speed Law for me is, production wise and sound wise, it feels like a old Western. If hip hop were to make an old Western, like this would kind of be the type of production that they would have on it. Just the feel of it. That's what I get from it. What about you for production wise?
Production wise is one of the hardest beats on this album. And this is the track that defines Mos Def as a lyricist. When I say lyricist, he goes in. This is his bars song. Like, he's talking his shit. He's talking his MC shit on this song by itself. Speed Law.
Yeah, it's a braggadocious record.
Oh yeah, like he goes in.
This is the track where he's like, I'm gonna let y'all know I got these bars. I got these bars, and they're always ready.
Don't get me twisted. I'm not a sleepy rapper. I'm not a soft bubble bath rapper making that smooth music for your candlelit dinner. Like, that's not Mos Def. Like, Mos Def will rap around you.
Yeah, I keep these bars loaded up, so they always ready.
Running circles around cats on this track alone. I was trying to look for some lyrics. But
And what I wanted to say is, again, going back to the progression of the album, you have Miss Fat Booty, which is kind of a guy that's a little bit too thirsty. And then you got Speed Law telling him, hey, y'all need to slow it down. Like, so it's, even though it's not, you know what I'm saying, even though it's not
Relax.
directly related,
yeah,
it still makes sense, and it has a thematic theme to it that you can have a correlation with, which I just thought was, again, another interesting note of, again, you know, you this thirsty dude, and then they're like, all right, next track, you need to slow it down, bro. You're a little too fast right there. The next track, Do It Now, definitely has that 90s, that early 90s feel, that early golden age of rap 90s feel, that has that energy, that kind of this track to me, I'm not gonna lie, listening to it over again in preparation for this podcast, it felt like something that I said about another album this year that came out, where I said it felt like it should have been a Schoolboy Q album. This production felt like it was more suited to Busta Rhymes than it felt like it was to Mos Def.
Yeah, you can really tell that.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean Mos Def did his thing on this, but it just felt like this production, like if let's say I was the executive producer and we having productions out on the table and they saying, okay, divvy these productions out to the artist, that production I'd have been like, oh, that goes to Busta. This goes to Busta.
Yep.
All right. Other tracks like Umi Says goes to Mos. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one of the things that I took note when I was going back with this album.
Yeah, this sounds like a song that was produced for Busta Rhymes, and then probably Busta Rhymes told somebody, let me get Mos Def on it. That's the type of feel that I get from the track. Both of them go in lyrically on this one. I like how they play off each other. The energy is there, and the energy is up the whole song. I love this song, man.
Yeah, the entire song. It's
You gotta do it now.
And this reminded me of something that I've brought up before about going back and forth that I liked with Run the Jewels. That's one of the things that I liked about Run the Jewels' first album is the fact that they went back and forth. Oh, I'm sorry. Run the Jewels 2, actually, I'm sorry, that they go back and forth. So that is something that I did like, and you are absolutely right. The energy does not stop. It's
From
throughout
the beat
there.
to the lyrics.
Yeah.
From the beat to the lyrics, it does not stop. What does he say? I like it because he speaks Spanish. Hey, Mos Def speaks good Spanish. He also did a whole track in Spanish.
On what was that?
It was Tony Touch's album.
No,
And
but he also did it. He also did
it.
it on that album where it's red in the back and somebody's jumping through.
Yeah.
I can't think. I can see the cover, but I can't see I don't remember the name.
What does he say? He goes, "Ay Dios míos, me and Busta Rimo, the hottest Negros en los Estados Unidos, hotter than Reno when discovered by Bigsy Siegel. I'm black like Don Cheeto, shouting power for the people." Man,
That line reminds me as well as I don't think there's not one track where he doesn't give some black empowerment, some nod to either civil rights activist, leader, something that again touches on what the title says, Black on Both Sides, that I'm proud of my blackness, and every track has something that indicates that or celebrates that blackness, like in that line,
It'll
as
be
black as Don Cheadle.
it'll be nonchalantly or also up front
Front, yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause, which I
it's
think
subtle and also not.
which I think
subtle.
is important,
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The next one is
This is how you get got.
I just want to touch on this song in particular because something that you brought up, again, listening to this, one of our friends who passed away, this was their favorite song, or one of their favorite songs off the album,
Oh yeah,
Miguel. So we want to give a shout out to him, R.I.P., bruh.
yeah. Rest in peace to Miguel, man. He was a young scholar. I would say he was a young scholar when we was in high school, and I would say he brought the energy. He gave me energy to look into Mos Def by himself. So I would actually give him credit to push me to who pushed me into buying this album. When we were kids, when we were in high school, he put the headphones on and he goes, "You gotta listen to this track." And the track that I listened to, the first song that I listened to, was "Got." He goes, "You gotta listen to this song. The beat is hard, but listen to the song. Listen to what he's saying in this song."
And I just want to say, me and Miguel used to have, great hip hop discussions about cannabis, about Nas.
Oh yeah, big cannabis fan, just like me.
Yeah, I remember having when that Four
Nas.
Horsemen that track came out. I remember having long ass discussions about that. But and it's kind of sad because I honestly believe that if he was here, like
We'll be
he
going in.
I definitely would have wanted to have him on the podcast. We definitely would have had a conversation, and I think it would have
About this
been
album.
yeah, definitely about this album at the least.
Oh yeah.
And knowing as big of a hip hop head as he was, he would love to be on it and just talk about it
This
because we
album-
just had we had discussions like this off mic, just talking because that's how much
Yeah.
we loved it.
Yeah. This
So,
album defines that time, man. That time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to again
Freshman year.
shout out to Miguel, man, and shout out to his family. We miss you, bro.
One time. Yeah.
I want to go into the next track. Umi says there's not enough. First of all, I want to tell everybody out there to go back to our past podcast because we did have a section where we did talk about Umi says on a way back podcast in our early days. I think of our first year doing the podcast, but Umi says is one of those tracks that is just it's another one of those tracks that if you were to put it has to be in one of the hip hop top 10 to 20 tracks of all times. It had to, for me it is. It has to be up there because of the production, the words, the sounds, the feeling, the vibe.
Tell them why.
There's so many things with this album for me. One, production wise, it just feels motivating. The mellowness of the production gives you a laid back feel that kind of draws you in sort of hypnotizing fashion of like lulling you to sleep and gives you that hypnotizing fashion where you don't even realize like, oh damn, the song's over, but because you want it to continue, you don't realize that.
And then what I do, I play it again.
Yep. Replay.
That's how strong this song is. It's like when it's done, oh shit, I gotta play it again.
Yeah. No matter
because you didn't want it to finish.
Yeah, you didn't want it to finish.
It's so good.
The drums just propel you and carry you through effortlessly, and then Mos Def singing is effortless as well because again it feels all as one of the. To me, everything together it meshes so well together that nothing necessarily stands out or is taken away. It just feels complete to me, I guess would be the best way to put it. Again, it is propelling Black empowerment, Black people. He says it, my Black people, just pushing, saying,
and he just repeats
it's kind of a chant saying like to, and that's why
this is not a song, this is a chant.
It kind of adds to that hypnotizing thing that I was talking about when the way that he says it and the way that it fits in the beat, it doesn't even feel like it's words anymore. It's all one thing, and that's kind of how hypnotism works is, you're taking your eye, your mind's not focusing on what's actually the message, and the message is being supplanted into your subconscious.
You know who made a newer version of this same song?
Who?
Kendrick.
Oh yeah. On
I.
Yeah,
I think I is this.
But he also used this beat on The Heart, Part 3, I believe.
Okay.
So that also ties into Kendrick as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a drowsing and intoxicating feel of this production. It's motivating. Like I said before, it takes me to so many sounds. Like I said, it takes me to Kendrick with The Heart Part 4. It takes me to Ab-Soul with where there's lines about shine your light. And on Illuminate, Ab-Soul has lines about, about shining your light, about, I'll give you all my light. I'll give you all of the shine, I'll give you all of my light. Like just that transcendent of your light, of spreading yourself and being open. And as Umi says, basically try to do what's right. Try to be what's right. Try to have faith and confidence in yourself and just keep moving, man.
Back when Nike and Jordan used to make really cool videos, they used this song in the background.
Because it's motivational, man.
Motivational music. Man, like I said before, like you don't want this song to ever stop. It's one of those tracks that is like, it puts you in a good mood. You can put it on in the morning. The first thing you hear, this should be your alarm clock.
Yeah,
this will get you going on your day. It'll make you quit your job. It'll make you do something else and go after your passion. Yep. Like for real.
Live your best life.
It'll lead, yeah. And that what leads me into the lyrics here. I was looking for the lyrics, man, but what does he say? And it's very, very, very basic and practical.
Yeah, and this ain't even the most like lyrically dense, complicated
he says it.
Bars, but it still resonates so profoundly.
He says it from the beginning. I don't want to write this down. I just want to tell you how I feel right now. But my favorite part is, I ain't no perfect man. I'm trying to do the best that I can.
with what it is I have.
With what it is I have, I ain't no perfect man. I'm trying to do the best that I can.
Because I mean, and that's why it's motivational. Because at the end of the day, that's all you can do. You can.
Oh, my bad.
that's,
I thought it was my turn.
I mean, that's basically all you can do with life is just do the best that you can, and with literally with what you have, the opportunities, the chances that you get, take advantage of them. That's carpe diem. You know, live for the day. Like live that day the best that you can with what you have. You can't change what you have, except by doing the things you can to acquire and build upon it.
Very true.
But you have to use the resources available to you at that time. And so, again, that's why I say to me it's like just so motivational, is uplifting. Because, again, that's basically the philosophy I live by. Is I'm just trying to make it, man. I'm trying to just do the best I can.
As we all.
That's it.
I just want to say this song, Umi Says, is my #1 shower song.
I'll have to break down my shower track list and let you know. But I'd say definitely it's, like I said, it's on my top 20, most likely top 10 hip hop songs of all time.
Ooh, so good.
But yeah, I have to do a list. I'm gonna be like Joe Budden. I got 300 songs on my list. But the next track, New World Order.
New World Water.
I said New World Order. Sorry, yeah.
New World Water.
New World Water. I'm thinking of WWE. Was it WWE or WWE? I don't know, one of those. Anyways, wrestling. But anyways,
WCW versus NWO.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
There you go.
That wolf pack. But what I would say is the first thing that kind of comes to mind when hearing this production on this actual the New World Water is that kind of kids play or like toy production sound that that toy
right
box
there.
yeah that toy box kind of sound.
Psycho
and
Les.
and exactly that definitely is a Beatnuts, I guess, signature sound or feel, and it definitely gives energy, even though Umi Says is low kind of in energy in feel, but again it's still motivating. This brings it right back up to what you had prior to that song with Busta Rhymes, which again I think it was very smart to keep the energy changing to give dynamics.
And you can hear that throughout the actual album. Like it'll be one song that will maybe consider it being a little low energy or just chill, a little fallback track, and then right after it, boom, you get the energy, you get the lyrics, you get the energy, just to wake people up listening to it. One of my favorite lines on this track is, "You can laugh and take it as a joke if you wanna, but it don't rain for 4 weeks some summers, and it's about to get real wild in the half. You buying Avion just to take a fucking bath."
Ballin'.
He just, you know what? Like, this is another track that we were talking about with the homie Miguel. Before he passed away, he's like, "Yo, you gotta check this song out in particular because it's a song just about water." That's like, it was as simple as that. Yeah. This song is just purely about water, but also bringing in, the times that we're in. Water is scarce. There's people that are poor. There's people that are rich. There's that battle between good and evil, like all that. But it's a track that goes. It's a song that goes with the track, the title of the track, which is just purely about water.
Yeah, and even though water is such a simple thing,
social economics,
he goes into so many, as you just mentioned, so many derivations of how water can affect things on a more social, economical level, on a political level, on a cultural level, on a environmental level, like on all those aspects that he broaches. And then like I said, it kind of brings me to the idea about Mick Jenkins with his The Waters album, his Love album. Again, expounding upon a simple or a considered simple topic and expounding upon that into a variety of ways. I wonder if this particular track inspired Mick Jenkins to do that whole album about water. I would love to ask him and see.
Let's go ask him.
Yeah, let's go ask him. Anybody out there, if you know Mick Jenkins, ask him if that was his inspiration or part of the inspiration for that album.
Let's DM him right now.
Yeah, we'll get him on the line. Rock and roll is an interesting song. And what I say is, again, don't call me on this, Twitter world, Facebook, social, or Instagram, kill me. But
Internet police.
yeah, internet, please don't
In
kill me out here.
general.
But I think, from my recollection, this is the first hip hop artist not to work with or have a rock and roll sound in their music, but for it to be incorporated into the production as not a collaboration project, more of a built for the album. Like
Yeah.
Run DMC with Aerosmith, Walk This Way, that was a collaboration. Like,
Cannabis did it on his album.
but that's post.
Yeah.
That was post Black on Both Sides, right? I think that was in 2002.
No.
The Cannabis
Can
one?
I Bust? The Can I Bust album was 98, so it was
So
before
it's a-
this one.
Okay.
Or same time, actually. It was 1998 or 1999, same time. So I think same time. I would say same time.
Did he? But was that a
it-
sample? Was that just a sample?
And it was produced by Wyclef. The song was produced by Wyclef.
Yeah, but I'm saying, was the rock parts just sampled, or was it? Because this one was.
Yeah, it has a.
This has a sample, but this also has actual, like a real rock.
Yeah.
Like they made a rock part.
No, those
for-
are real drums. Those are most.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think this might be the first where like it was actually produced. A rock production was produced for a hip hop album, versus piecing something together to make it hip hop.
Yeah, it was for this track.
Okay.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I think this might be the first. Don't quote me on it, but that's how I felt, anyways. If it's
Mm-hmm.
not the first, that's how I felt. Like this, I felt like it was revolutionizing hip hop, taking us to another step, taking or progressing the culture further with this album.
He says, Elvis Presley ain't got no soul. Little Richard is rock and roll. You may dig on the Rolling Stones, but they didn't come up with that shit on their own.
And that line right there made me think about. Well, of course, he's talking about cultural appropriation and music being stolen by whites from blacks, and it made me think of this album was in '99. Cadillac Records, which was he played in the movie, came out 2008. So almost 10 years. And he plays Chuck Berry, who is a black man who basically like revolutionized rock and roll, and then was later had a lot of his hits, his music, his sound stolen by other artists, some of them Elvis Presley. So like just how that kind of came together. Like he's talking about this even before he got the role. Like just how crazy that work, how things work.
His knowledge is there.
That's what I mean. Like the knowledge was there before he got the role. Like so, kind of like, who's to say that he would have got that role if he didn't have that knowledge prior? Being ready. It takes me back to what Umi says, like doing the best you can with what it is you have. Part of that is being prepared, so when opportunities come, you can take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And like he's ready for that by just always staying true to his craft and diving deep into the craft, trying to understand more about it, more and more about it. And with this song, I thought it was just interesting that juxtaposition of, like I said, the cultural appropriation, and then he plays the actual person that had a lot of his art appropriated.
Message. Everybody should be on that hype. Everybody should be on that same hype that Mos Def. Mos Def has taught me a lot. Go dig deep into your craft, what you believe in, your passion. Again, I'm going to bring it back to passion. Man, that's what you should be doing every single day.
No, that's real. Now, I will say this, though. What about that second half of that song? I'm gonna be real. When I first got the album and I got to this part, like I was listening, and then I was like,
What did I
I
say
thought
earlier?
something happened. I was like, what happened to my album?
Like, oh, shit.
I was like, shit.
Oh shit, did it skip?
Yeah.
Into
And then
a
I
whole
went to the
different album. What did I say earlier? I was like, oh, this is when it gets weird. Hey, no, because at that time, at a young age, I'm straight hip hop, man. I got a beanie on. I'm wearing the same sweater every day. You know, Jam Sport backpack, that whole feel. You know what I mean? Like that whole backpack feel. And this song comes on, and I listen to the first half, and then the second half, I tune out and I skip. No lie. Like
I
when
used to do the same thing
when
too.
I first, there's a lot of these tracks that I actually skipped through just because it was above my head. Now that I'm older, I'm paying attention to the lyrics. You know, you go back to shit. You always go back to shit. You know, and again, I bring it back to like I hate that I have so many albums that I gave away. Now I want to bring them back and listen to it. This is that track that we actually listened to the whole thing, no problem. But I said this is when it gets weird.
Yep.
But go ahead. What's your take upon that second half of the track? Because it switches up. So for those who don't know and want to get into the track, this is rock and roll. He starts off talking about the history of rock and roll and what he feels about how the state of rock and roll is and what he believes what is real rock and roll. And then it goes into a straight ska punk type of,
it's kind of like it's like a punk slash. I'm getting somewhat like of a London rock feel too.
Yeah. Just rugged, just screaming.
Yeah, a lot of
screaming,
screaming,
loud, and just percussions all over the place. It's not even like
it
might not even sound on beat to you.
It sounds like what it is. It sounds like
rebellion.
Is what rock transitioned to after it was appropriated. So it does fit and it makes sense because he was talking about how rock was appropriated, and then he's basically going through the transition all the way from basically giving us a rock history of where it began, and then at the end what you hear is what it sounds like now.
Yeah. What it
sound
what
at that time.
Into.
Yeah, what it sounded at that time and what it turned into. I thought it was interesting in the very beginning, like you said. I would skip it because I was like, I don't know. Later, I did mature into understanding and coming up with that. I understanding what he was trying to say with it and what was the purpose of it. Because if you notice anything with Mos Def, as we talked about, he's meticulous in his craft. So there's nothing that's just on there just to be on there. There's no sound that's on there just to be on there. There's just not, let me just throw this on there. No, it has a purpose. It has a function. We might not always know what that function is, but he does from the artist's perspective. Next, you have Know That. For me, I don't have much to say about Know That besides I do like Talib Kweli getting on it. It's very Black Star-esque in its sound. It was good to see them that they're still, working together. That
they had to do this track.
Yeah,
it was one of those things like you can tell they had to do this. This is after Black Star, the solo. I mean the group album, and then you have this track. It just keeps that vibe. It keeps them together. You know what I mean? They came as a package.
Yeah, and then after that you have Climb. Climb had that a very cinematic feel to it in production, and then lyrically you can just see that it's escalating as the track progresses. That each line it's building upon the line prior, trying to get you to this pinnacle that you reach.
I love that it has Vania Mojica on there, and she is one of like the most, I would say, underrated R&B artists of that era of the time, and she was always on these soulful ass tracks. Got to give her so much credit on being on this song. That's the singer in the background of this song. You can go back into her catalog. She worked with so many people during that time, even big names, and it just brings in that just feel good, and it actually brings us back because just like the track right before, it was all over the place and there's a high energy. Then it goes into this track where it's just, all right, cool. Now it's time to chill a little bit, relax, sit back, take a drink. Boom. Like you get that feel.
Yeah, chill out.
Yeah. But she's so dope. She's such a great singer. And she makes tracks. Like without her, I don't see this track existing. And there's a lot.
She definitely elevates it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of collaboration with Vania Mojica with Mos Def.
Yeah, I mean they have a good vibe, a good chemistry, and their vocal patterns just they vibe together sonically. After Climb, you got Brooklyn, and the very beginning lines of Brooklyn, I believe, is from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Is it Under the Bridge? I believe it's Under the Bridge. It's from a Red Hot Chili Pepper song. I think it's Under the Bridge.
Off top, I couldn't tell you.
Because
I'm hungover.
I like Red Hot Chili Peppers, so I mean I like that song in particular. The guitar on it is pretty awesome. But anyways, that's the music nerd in me coming out. But
I love how this track is just broken down into segments.
Yeah.
Not too many people were doing that at that time either, so it was actually something new, or just at least something creative out of an album. If you listen to an album and you're listening to one artist the whole time, you may or may not get bored, right? Let's just be honest. But this track right here, goes into different vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's all about being at home, all about being Brooklyn, all about being proud of where you come from.
It's very New York in sound, and that's another thing that I want to talk about. I got in a conversation with a friend of the podcast. Actually, you might listeners out there heard him, Benjamin Ananawell, and we were talking about the different sounds in different regions, and talking about how New York is sounds are tend to be different than California, West Coast, East Coast, Southern. And one of the characteristics that's associated with New York's sound is a result of its environment. And that's that New York is, especially in the city, New York City, you have a lot of people on top of each other, a lot of people crowded next to each other, buses, loud sounds. It's very noisy because there's so many people in a small space. So you get that in the production of, especially in hip hop. Think about Brooklyn sound producers. It's more intricate sounds usually, sounds that are harsher, sounds on top of sounds, clashing sounds. You get where, as Ben brought up to me, and it made very much sense. And then you go to the South, and you get a lot of open sounds, open horns, and then you get the West. You get a bounce because of our laid back mentality of just a different funk vibe, which has more melodic tones than you get in, like I said, in the East Coast, because of it's just the different vibe, different environment produces the different sounds, and so. With this particular track, it's very Brooklyn. A lot of sounds, a lot of clashing sounds, a lot of different. And then, but even within that, because that again makes it sound like there's a kind of pigeonholing the sound. But no, you can still get a lot of different sounds even with that environment.
Oh yeah.
As is present on this album or this particular track. You get some parts of it that have a gritty, energetic feel. Then you get other parts that have a more carefree, loose feel, just on the same particular song, but it still has the cohesiveness that you would want.
And he ends it with the sample from Who Shot Ya, the Biggie Who Shot Ya, and he ends it with Flossy cats get it snatched like a local tax. The place I sharpen up my baritone vocals at, where one of the greatest MCs was a local cat. Just talking about
always giving out big.
Just always
giving out
bigs
to big.
Man, such a strong song.
Very strong song. And, I mean, it's fitting that he ended it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brooklyn's own. So, after that, you have Habitat, which, again, think about, again, looking at the layout. You have Brooklyn where you're talking about your home, the place you live at. Then the next song after that is Habitat, where... that somebody be saying, well, that's the same thing. But nah, if you listen to the lyrics, it's not quite the same thing. You know what I mean? Brooklyn's more about the love of Brooklyn, where Habitat's more about
I thought it was all one song.
The strifes and tribulations that you have to deal with in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how smooth it is, though.
That's how smooth it is. And both of these tracks actually take me to Dave Chappelle's Block
Party, yeah.
That's the feel I get from Brooklyn and then going into Habitat. It makes me feel about really, really good about that video, that DVD.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when that came out. It gives you that vibe of family, man. Family of the art.
When all good,
and not even family of each other, just family of hip hop.
When all good music meets, and gets together in the physical form. You know what I mean? Like it's all good music, all good artists. And then they come together and they just form just a fucking beautiful thing. Block Party.
When I saw an interview of Questlove talking about the feelings that he had or like about Block Party, and he was like, the last day he was like, he can tell that this was something that was like magical. Like it was something that we'll have other moments where we'll feel like, you know, really good, but he's like, there won't be another moment where you have these many people all together that really were all about one thing, and that's hip hop. Like that it was about the music. There was,
and as you're watching,
especially those levels of egos and stars, for them all to care about one thing and just have that energy and enjoyment. That's a magical moment
and
in music.
You see that as you're watching it from the beginning. That's why I bring it up. It's such a dope compilation movie. It's a movie that Dave Chappelle and Questlove put together. But you see that building from the beginning. The same energy that you're talking about of how it just all these things come together, and you'll never see that ever again. But they had one mission to have everybody do a dope ass free block party for the Brooklyn neighborhood, like right there in the heart of where Biggie grew up too.
For the people.
Right where Biggie grew up.
For not even for the people, for the culture, and then the people got enjoyment out of it. Like that's a byproduct of it. Like that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those moments in hip hop that you're just happy that we got to share in
And
it.
Mos
You know what I
Def
mean?
is on the drums in that movie. You know, he's teaming up with the Roots.
Yeah,
Questlove and the
Questlove, yeah.
Roots. You know, putting the music together. So shows him how versatile this guy is. That he's not only an MC, a rapper, he's an actor. He's a
I
he's,
say
he's a
Mos
one
Def,
man band.
Mos Def and Andre 3000, the best rapper to turn actors.
Man,
Cause
that's a good debate right there.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, for me they're the two top.
Tupac was the best.
Tupac was good. I'm not well. All right, then I'll put him tied. He just doesn't. I mean, unfortunately for him, he didn't have enough time to expand on his resume. Like
yeah.
I've seen Mos Def go from the dude in
Juice.
well that, but to see Mos Def go from that Thief movie
Okay.
with Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
Italian Job,
Italian Job.
and then see him in Cadillac Records, where it's two separate types of like that. And then there was something else I seen. Oh
Don't forget about Brown Sugar. We're watching it right
no,
now.
not even. But that movie where he played
As we
a
speak.
heart surgeon. I saw Mos Def play in this movie where he played the first black that perfected the heart surgery.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I'm saying. I seen him in those three different roles, and they were all vastly different types of people, vastly different types of roles.
Not dealing with music.
and
not being
and
an
yeah,
MC, not being a rapper.
and that's why I say I put him up there.
No, Mos Def is really
but
he's really good.
Pac would have been able to, I think, been as diverse too. So yeah, I just put that out there. The next track, it's not even. Would you say it's a track? I would say that's more of a like an interlude esque, Mr. Nigga. I
Dope.
guess it is.
No, it's
Yeah, I guess it's a full track,
It's
yeah.
a full track. It's a track in its own.
It just has a different type of layout, I guess.
Accompanied with Q-Tip. I really wish Q-Tip would rap on this song. but
I guess
I
that's
was
why.
hoping-
Yeah.
when I saw his name in the back of the cover, I was like, "Oh shit, Q-Tip's on this." But he does the hook only. But still,
Hooking some ad libs.
Yeah, and the ad libs. It's not even a lot, right? It's so subtle, but so dope. Overall, it's as the title says, it's in your face, and it's talking about just
Unapologetically in your face.
right? And it's just about black lifestyle and the trials and tribulations that come with it.
I just thought
being black.
I just thought it was an interesting way of expressing a black experience through music in an
both.
interesting way.
Yeah, in a good way and a bad
Yeah,
way.
and
It's
both.
It talks
both.
about both. Like,
yeah,
it shows you what you shouldn't be doing as black and what happens to you as black. You know what I mean? It has
it shows the many different spectrums of being black, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And then you have possibly the second best song on the album. After that, Mathematics.
This is like if I want to say out of all, I wouldn't say it's the best track. I would define it as the hardest track. This is the hardest track on this album, lyrically and production wise, and the production is by DJ Premier, my number one producer.
Yeah,
my favorite number one producer of all
he's
time.
on your
He's number
Mount
one.
Rushmore of
He's number
producer.
one, and Dr. Dre is second. But
Okay.
I put Premier as number one. When it comes to what I love out of hip hop,
The sounds that you enjoy, he puts them together
Premier
just right.
puts it together.
Okay.
Premier does it right. So I'll leave that right there.
Yeah, I'll say for me, Mathematics, like lyrically, Mos Def's going in. It's so witty. It's so it's I don't want to say I guess the word I'm looking for is just intricate as well, and which makes sense for a track called Mathematics. It just shows you that it felt, especially at that time. I think the emotion that I remember feeling when I first heard Mathematics was, and you guys say that hip hop's dumb. That's what it was like, and you say that hip hop's dumb, but you listen to this and you say hip hop's dumb. Like how like I just felt I was like it was saying to those like it's saying it's really pushing the boundaries of saying look how intelligent we are. And this ain't even, I'm not even trying to be intelligent. This is just, I'm not trying to even.
I'm poking fun at it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm poking fun at the fact that we can be intelligent
Yeah,
and
like
witty. I would say more now. I would say that feel is more now where we feel, or not we, but the masses will see as hip hop as dumb, or not intelligent. But at this time is when these artists were in the forefront, showing and improving that hip hop is intelligent rap, the backpack rap, the conscience rap, Common.
See, I have to disagree with you. I would say that they were there doing it, but I wouldn't say that the masses were seeing it that way. Because think about that time. Yeah, Common, like, I feel like if you're in the hip hop world, you knew about Common, you knew about Talib Kweli, you knew about Erykah Badu, you knew about these people, right? But let's go to the monetary aspect. They weren't bringing in them checks.
No, but if you take it back,
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, and monetary gives you some inclination of how accepted you are, because people gravitate to what accepted. And so if they're not getting, they weren't getting those checks at that time. Yeah, they were getting the spots, because hip hop, I felt at that time, we weren't big enough to the point that the true art was getting hidden. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it gets oversaturated, or it gets taken over and gets sold out, like, the true art's hard to find. You have to be really into it. Like, as we were saying, the backpack rappers, you have to find you like. You can go to a lot of people that say they like hip hop and they don't know about Cannabis. They don't know about Rakim. They don't know about the history of it. I just remember, like, when I would talk about Common, when I would talk about Talib, when I would talk about Mos Def, even around this time of this album, there's very few people that knew about it. They knew about the songs, they knew about the video, but they didn't know about the album. That's what I mean. Like, they didn't hear Mathematics. They heard Miss Fat Booty, because that was the song, the video, the single. But that's it.
No, what I'm trying to say is that this era defines what was being phased out.
Okay.
So, but prior to 1998, let's go back in time and let's just really quick just show you from the years of, let's just say 93 to 96 was an awesome year for hip hop. That was I would say
golden age of
I would
hip-hop,
say
yeah.
89, 90 to 96 was the golden era of hip hop, where this type of rap, Mos Def type of rap, was the shit.
Yeah.
It was the only version of hip hop that you could hear.
Okay.
Because it didn't deviate into other things yet.
Okay. I agree with you. I'm with you on that one.
And that was, let me go back to that. Like, this type of conscious rap, this type of lyrical rap, hip hop, rather, was for the masses. That was popping for the masses. Then 96 and forward, you start getting more of the jiggy rap, the flashy shit, the Mace, Puff Daddy era, and then everything that came out after that, right? So it changed. But this pocket of time, this 1997, 98, 99, 2000, to me, this is, at this moment of time, there was no dumb rap, or there was no people, there wasn't the media saying that there were dumb rappers, or hip hop in general was dumb. Like, this is actually the point of hip hop where it solidified that hip hop is not.
See, I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
See, the way that and again, I gotta look back and I might be misremembering it, but the way that I see it around this time is that, yes, it was becoming more accepted in the masses, hip hop was, but it wasn't because of its consciousness. It was just because of the sounds were being more acceptable. Because we were straying away from, we're going to more acceptable sounds, more toy box, more not as heavy, gritty productions. At least that's the way I remember it. But maybe I'm
right.
not. But because I just remember conversation. I remember seeing like shows like Oprah, Geraldo. Not really seeing them, but hearing people talk about them, saying, oh, these rappers this, these rappers that, and it was never in it. Yeah, it was never in a positive light about that. That they were conscious, that they were trying to say anything about elevating the community.
Because what they were seeing was being promoted to the masses.
Exactly, as negative.
And totally disregarding this era, this group,
That's
this
what I mean.
genre of hip hop, this part of hip hop.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, but
I want to go ahead and recite a line.
I'll go ahead.
If you don't mind.
Give the people them bars. As Jalen and Jacoby say, give the people what they want. They want the bars.
What does he say? He goes, Crack mothers, crack babies, and AIDS patients. Young bloods can't spell, but they can rock you in PlayStation. This the new math is whipping motherfuckers' ass. You want to know how to rhyme, you better learn how to add. It's mathematics.
Woo. If you ever question Mos Def's bars, lyrics, listen to that line again. Like, just in that one line, so much information.
So much was said.
Yeah, so much was said in that one line, and that's one line off of that. I'm sure there's probably at least 16. I know there's at least
The
16
whole
in
song
there. There's
is
probably
a
like
quotable.
32. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole song is a quotable.
So
Again, he is talking about math. The song is called Mathematics. He breaks down things simple to life, simple what we're going into, but he actually puts knowledge behind it by putting some mathematics and science behind it.
yeah, he puts math and mathematical theories
He wants you to
into
logic.
life, and that takes a lot of skill. You can ask a mathematician. That's what they do. They apply math to life, realistic life. So again, this is one of those great albums. The album ends with May to December, which was another interesting look because the way that it begins, the way that it ends wasn't what you were typically getting with albums. You know, they usually wanted the intro. They wanted you to get hit with bars early to make sure that I got them. And they would always end with bars too. Or, something hard-hitting, something with strong bars, and you get an instrumental at the
No
end.
time wasted.
Yeah, you get
overall.
you're going to get it. And on here, you get an instrumental for May to December is the final track. The instrumentation on it is soothing and beautiful.
Transitions.
Yeah.
too.
And it
Transitions.
transitions and builds as you're listening too. So it does feel the thing that just talking about it now reminds me of Lupe Fiasco's what's the name of that Tetsuo and Youth. That album of how the instrumentation on the summer, fall, spring that they have, that kind of instrumentation. This album reminds me of that. Actually, in reverse because this album came first.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was very interesting and more interesting than the fact that Mos Def was a key component in the production for it. It just really shows you his artistic, and again, like we've been saying throughout this, that he's really cognizant of the sounds that he wants for his projects
Yeah, on this track alone.
and how to curate those sounds.
He's doing the bass and vibraphone. I don't even know what the hell a vibraphone is. Sounds dope. He does everything: keyboards, drums, congas, percussions.
88 Keys was on this.
88
Helped
Keys.
or worked with Mos Def for the production. They
88
collaborated for
Keys,
this.
One of the dopest producers of that time too. Made a lot of the tracks for Ruckus record artists.
So now that we've gone through each track on this album, I'll wrap this up and say that I really enjoy going back into these albums and having these discussions with you, man, because it gives new insight on old treasures. We've takes you back and then having these discussions, it allows me to relate it to other albums that, like, I would have never thought about the Lupe Fiasco, Tetsuo and Youth. I just literally thought of it now, just talking about it. So it makes me want to revisit that album and see how deep of a connection those two will have in that instrumentation, things of that nature. It just opens up doors for exploration of music even more. And for me, that's the passion. That's the love. That's why we do it. So finding different ways to improve on that passion and find even more little intricate details and share stories is even better for me going down through it. So I think this is a classic album. I really, really enjoy it and I go to it often. And I get mad at myself that I don't go to it more often. But that shows how great it is.
Albums like this are forever growing to me. And what I mean by that is that it came out at a certain time, but we go back to it. We go back to it and we're still learning shit from it. Like, it hasn't gone anywhere. This music hasn't changed. It's the same song. It's the same track. And we can go back to it and learn something new from it. And even better. And still, we still haven't grasped everything, even at this time. This album came out, what, 99?
Yep.
And what year is it now? Still learning from this album, bruh. Along with a lot of these albums that I actually gravitate to and I bought. I physically purchased these and I hold on to these for a very long time. Jay-Z brought it up into one of his latest podcasts with
Rap Radar.
He was explaining to Elliot Wilson and the other guy forgot his name. But
Yeah, I can think of it.
but Rap Radar, he was
Yeah, I know who they are.
what he was saying is that people to this day are still pulling information and still growing with the albums long after it even came out, and then going back into it and still learning, what these words, what these lyrics are all about, these songs, these titles, albums, the concepts, everything that actually put it together. There's still stuff that we're still discovering till now and actually paying attention to it, and it's not going over our heads. But there's top of that, there's still more to learn.
That's what great art will do in any form. Great books with any art, if they're great or good enough, they're timeless, and that's what they are. They're timeless because they connect in ways that, regardless of what time or space is, it relates on a human level, on human emotions that go beyond, again, any time. So that just speaks again to the level of work that he put down on this album.
And that's what I'm always trying. I try my best to teach people. If I have time to sit down and I start playing music in the background, and my main message is that good music is forever. I never want to put a time limit. But, nowadays people will be like, oh, that's, from 99. That's hella old. That's a throwback, or whatever it may be. They kind of just already kind of pigeonhole it, or like kind of just categorize it. But good music is good music. It's going to be forever. Just like when we listen to Michael Jackson, that's forever.
Yeah.
Prince, that's forever. Madonna, that's forever. Selena, that's forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the list goes on.
Shit, Bach, classical music. You know what I'm saying? Like we still marvel at Mozart's, symphonies.
Yeah.
And still trying to interpret that. You know what I'm saying? So like, great music will live on forever. And the other thing that I tell people often too is, it doesn't matter. It's not when you discover the music. It's just that you do. Like, there's never a time when it's like, oh, that's bad that I found this out. No.
Take it from me.
It's better to find it than never find it.
I got this album way, way, way after, Mos Def was already known. You know what I mean? Like, I was late on this album, along with other albums during that time. I knew Mos Def through Black Star and all the tracks that he made together with High Tech and also Talib Kweli. Then I got onto this, and then just everything kind of leads into your own time. I would say find your own time to get into it, because that would be the best time to dive into an album with more of your energy focused on what the album is all about.
Very true. And sometimes that album you might not be ready for that album at that time.
Oh yeah, and that will always happen.
It might be over your head, and you might not feel it, or you might not be in an emotional state to absorb it. You might not be in the mental state to absorb it. You might there's so many factors that go into it. So when you find it, you find it. Like Bob Marley says, when music hits, you feel all right. You know what I'm saying? So hit us with music. Thank you for listening to another Stay Woke podcast and listening to another episode or segment of the Take It Back with D-Ray and DJ William West. This was today's segment of that was Mos Def, Black on Both Sides, again, which was released in October 12th, 1999. If you haven't given it a listen, give it a listen. Tell us what you think about that album. Tell us what your favorite tracks on that album is. Tell us where you were when you first purchased it. Also, give us some ideas of other albums that we should take it back to. Other years we should take it back to. Shit, even other genres we should take it back to. Just give us some feedback. Let us know. You can email us your feedback at cofounder@thesonicbreakdown.com or hit us on Instagram. That's Stay Woke Podcast with D-Ray, or The Sonic Breakdown on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or you can hit William West. Give them your Instagram and Twitter again, you know what I'm saying, so they can contact you and leave comments as well.
Definitely hit me up. It is @_MRWES, and that's Mr. West _Mr. West.
There you go. So go follow us, go subscribe on our YouTube pages. And again, you know our motto: live, listen to some great music, and above all, love more. And we out. Take it way back, way back.
I'm going to listen to this again and watch Brown Sugar the movie. Peace.